Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. Everybody that does AI robotics call has to have a robot on their slide deck. It's like the law. Thank you for sticking with it. I know that after you've just heard all that research stuff, what you really need now is a good economics theory lesson, so that's what you're going to get for the next 15 minutes. Tim Jones, a company called Lumesse. We are a recruiting platform provider. We are having contingent hiring, internal mobility, and external permanent hiring all in one platform. But today's not a product demonstration. Don't worry, please don't leave. I'm one of those crows with those bright, sparkly things that Colette was talking about in her talk earlier. What I wanted to do is I consult with clients all the time about the choices they're making for their technology. This is badged as a recruitment technology talk, but the reality is it also could be a work technology talk. Most of my clients are people like you, HR directors, HR buyers, who are challenged every day with how they deal with the consumer-led stuff that their teams are using, and then they get their boring internal work tech, and it doesn't seem to square up. So that's what we're going to deal with, first of all. I don't have a clicker. Can I get a clicker? I do have a clicker. Awesome. Green's good, right? Yay. Economic Theory Lesson 101. Here we go. This is the start. So this guy is John Maynard Keynes. I don't know if you know Keynesian economics. John Maynard Keynes, a Brit guy, was writing in the 1920s and 30s, helping nations, governments get out of the Great Depression. I'm using Keynes for two reasons. In 1930, he wrote an essay called The Economic Possibilities for Our Grandchildren, a futurist thinking about what it's going to be like to work in the future. Keynes came up with a statistic that he reckoned that we'd all be only working 15 hours a week by now. So let's take a look at what the OECD say. Now, this slide is way bigger on my laptop than it is now on this screen. But you're about 34 hours on average a week per worker. We're bad. We're 37 still, so we've got miles to go. So that's point one. Keynes thinks that by the 1970s and 1980s, so we should even be way past this now, we'd all be doing 15 hours a week. The other thing that I like about this essay that he wrote was something that I think resonates very much with the conversations I have with my clients, which is that the increase of technical efficiency is just going so fast and we're not keeping up. Now, every one of my HR customers says they think that's the problem, that consumer-led technology is driving this set of behaviors and expectations, and then internally, with what we can buy off the shelf as enterprises, we just can't manage it quick enough. And the technology he was talking about in the 20s was Victorian manufacturing, Victorian banking cycles, changes in mass transportation. So, I've got some predictions for you today. The first one, I reckon, is executive leadership of the future will be more accepting of technical-based solutions. Okay? Now, this is not an ageist statement, so I want to be clear about the next slide. So, there is a thing that happens in demographics, especially in organizations, in nations where healthcare gets better. Population size, birth rates slow down, death rates take longer to achieve. People last longer on the planet. So the first three of those are all the thickening, the trunk of the tree, the demographic trunk that just thickens and grows over time. And it's only in one continent, in Africa at the moment, where the demographic model is still like a pyramid. Birth rates, high birth rates, not very long death rates. Now, I'm using this for one reason, not as an ageist statement, but to say there are generations coming behind our current leadership that are more used to using technology. So when we think about the consumer expectations that people have today, and think about the people that will be making choices to buy technology in a few years' time, they're all going to be much used to the kind of systems and bots and AI and stuff that we all use in our consumer lives. I'm going to make a second prediction. Doing work is going to get a lot easier. Doesn't mean we're going to have less work. We'll probably still always have the right amount, but achieving the tasks that you have to achieve is certainly going to get easier. This lady looks very happy to me, but she has what I think is a very modern problem. Just a question. When you landed at your company, did the induction program involve giving you a smartphone device or a mobile phone? And did that then mean you have two? This lady has a problem that she has one phone jammed in her arm, she has an iPad, and all of us experience these choices where we think, what am I going to have to do, and therefore what device is appropriate? So am I going to surf in front of the TV, so I might use my tablet? Or am I on the train commuting to work, so I have to use my mobile phone? But in the future, you need to make sure that I don't have to have an app for that or a desktop experience for that. I should just do the task. Now, companies way bigger than Lumesse are also working on these problems. So all of those players you'll know. And all of them are working in a multi-device way. So multi-device working is the first way your life is about to get easier. The sense that you can pick up a task on one device and finish it on anything else that you choose. And no longer will companies have to go with a BlackBerry strategy or an Apple strategy or an Android strategy, because you don't do that in your consumer life. You choose the tool you like the most. You buy the TV that looks the best, the curve or the non-curve. You just make so many different choices, and every one of us in this room is making a different choice. So in our work life, organizations like these guys, but also like mine, I'm going along with the idea that we can't force you as a consumer of recruitment technology to have to make a choice based on, is it Apple-based? Can you get an app for that? So, a couple of key concepts, and I hope these are things that you encourage your providers to do too. The first one is then the multi-device working. So a line manager starting and initiating action and activity on one device, being able to pick up that in another one, and carry it on throughout any choice they make through the day. And the second thing is that we all want personalized, consumerized technology. We all like to think, we get our smartphone out of the box, the first thing we do is put all those Apple icons into one little folder, and then we go to the App Store and download everything we really want. So that's our personalization in action. And what a recruitment technology, of course, has us trouble to do is that we're trying to please HR and the CIO. We want to deliver something standard and fast, but also useful and manageable. Nobody ever went to the Facebook Academy, so you can't provide tech anymore that needs training. Stone Age man didn't pick up a tool and have to be taught how to use the rock. So there's a good theme. We should go with, non-trainable devices. They're good. So what comes in technology nowadays is something called adaptive intelligence. And adaptive intelligence is a way of bringing a personalized experience based on exactly what the user wants, but in a standardized platform. So our way of using that sense is we'll look at the data of the user experience all the time. We'll know how a manager goes into a system and how they navigate to achieve a task. But on their way, if they miss something, a feature that is going to bring them 50% efficiency, what should I do? Should I ignore it? Or should I make them take the navigational choice that makes them 50% more efficient? So what adaptive intelligence does, it looks at the data of the user experience and says, actually, if I now raise in prominence something that makes that person more efficient, I'm going to be helping that person's adaptation and adoption of the technology. And I can also do the reverse. If they have a screen, if they have limited real estate on a desktop environment, and there's a big button up there that they never use, I can take that and I can automatically get it out of the way. So I can bring personalization to a very standardized piece of enterprise tech. And hopefully, the consumerized choices that we make are now starting to be brought into the team. Talk about something that is perhaps one of the last bastions of enterprise technology, and that is the power in people's voices. I love it that on my table, people have been winning Amazon Echoes. In fact, a Lumesse employee has won an Amazon Echo. So I'd also make another prediction that talking to your work technology is going to be the absolute normal thing that you do within 5 years. Okay? Now, it's thanks to people like this that we can say that's going to be true. We've all dealt with Amazon Echoes now. We've all got Siri. We even had an idea in this forum right now to get you all talking to your Siri devices and see how loud it was. We won't go there. It's not good to do audience participation every time. What's also nice is that then other providers take these technologies and start to embed them in your consumerized life. I love that story from Mercedes-Benz. They're going to put Google Home and Amazon Echo into their car's operating system. A car has an operating system these days. So we're clearly at this threshold moment. These technologies are getting good, getting robust enough and scalable that other providers feel trusting that they can bring that technology into their own world. But what needs to happen? I speak differently when I'm very tired at the end of a long day, because I came from a part of England where they have a very strong accent. We do not speak the Queen's English all over the country in the UK, just to say. I'm sure that's true here. And there was a conversation yesterday about the husband could communicate with the Echo device, but the wife couldn't because the accent was different. We can't have technology where one person can't use it and another one can. You can't have a new hire induction program where for the first 20 minutes of a day, you lock a new hire in a sound booth and they talk to their tech to train it. Can't do it. These are unacceptable solutions. But I'd also ask you another question. How loud does getting too loud have to be? Because if you have an open plan building and talking to technology is the norm, how loud is going to be too loud? The USHA, your Safety and Health Authority, define a magic number, and it's 90 decibels. You may know that. Some of you in manufacturing environments particularly probably will. 90 decibels is important because at 90 decibels you have to wear ear defenders. So open plan building, people on the phone talking, but having to wear ear defenders, it's also not going to happen. They also provide a very helpful scale. On that right-hand side of the scale, at 70 decibels is classroom noise. Okay, so 70 to 90 is not that far. You can go to your app store, download a free decibel meter. Just go record yourself talking to your phone and see how loud it is. I've got a big voice. It comes out at about 80. How many 80 decibel conversations in an open plan building is it going to take before you get to 90 decibels? And at 90 decibels, you're suddenly going to have to wear ear defenders around the office. Or are we going to have to redesign our buildings to stop having so many open plan offices and start partitioning much better? I don't know. I don't have all the answers. My last prediction. There's a lot of bot content. Everything on Twitter is about a bot right now, or AI. But I've got to say that I think within the next 2 years, most of the heavy grind on your volume transactions is going to be done by bots. And in your consumerized life, again, you will be interacting with them all the time. So this is now not about some cool killer bots. What I want to do first of all is get a sense of demographics again. Do any of you know Kik? Good, generational point proved automatically. Kik is a social media messaging platform for the 13 to 17-year-old demographic. Oh my God, they have a social media platform already at 13? I've got a 6-year-old, it's got way to go yet. And on Kik, there's a bot shop. Wow, takes my head some to get around. Generation X here, right, by the way. It's not normal. So on Kik, you can go on your social media platform, you can download a bot, there's no actual payment transaction, and then apparently you can have a relationship with a Kardashian. You can follow The Pretty Little Liars is a YouTube thing. Some retail stores are already here. H&M, I don't know if there's anybody in the room from H&M, but H&M retail store have a bot on Kik. Okay, so let's just think about that demographic. 13 to 17-year-olds interacting every day with a bot. Push forward 20 years, these people are starting to get on your executive leadership team. Do you think for 1 minute they won't think bots are normal in your enterprise strategy? Freaks me out. They will not think twice about it. In fact, they'll probably be more surprised that we're having this conversation, that we never thought that was normal. Another story I like. This Canadian little boy, that's so rude. This 14-year-old teenager invented the most popular bot on Facebook Messenger. It's called the Christopher bot. And for me, and now here's the lesson, it has all the 3 best parameters of how you guys should go away and think about bots. Firstly, it's a volume game thing. He's dealing with a bot that allows you to track and process the homework you have. So there's a clip there. The bots, CB, Christopher bot. Your teacher needs to chill out on the homework. What homework do you have? And then the student adds the homework they have, algebra. And the bot tracks it. Student then tells them they've done their algebra, and the bot clears it from the list. Cool. So that has the 3 parameters. One is it's a volume transaction. Every student across the planet tracking their homework. It's also personal. So it's giving the consumer, the user, something they feel is about them. Not only is it personal because, of course, it's their bot, their homework planner, it's also personal because it's got a little bit of personality. Your teacher needs to chill out. And then the last thing is it's got a very, very specific use case. Do not think you need a master bot. You don't need one bot to deal with all of the situations of automated stuff in your workplace. Have loads of bots. I was going to say thousands, but that's probably overkill. Some of the organizations in this room, I know one of them has already 12 bots out there working. So, volume transactional processes, personalization, and also make it very specific. Now that's a killer bot situation. And I've got one last screen. So on the left-hand side is just a bot use case, just an example. Right now, you can go to an interview in an organization. One of your organizations, you can then have a bad experience and go on Glassdoor. And on Glassdoor, you can say how awful that experience was. Maybe you got rejected. And of course, in our world of TA, there's way more people getting rejected than getting hired. There's a new social media platform called Completed.com. I just found it, but on Completed, you not only now can rate how the experience of the interview was, you can also rate the interviewer that you met on Completed.com. So how bad would it be if all of those people suddenly decided to go social and talk about the poor experience of being rejected at your company? So it's a volume game. You've got all these people. It's a personalized experience you're looking for, and it's a very specific use case. The use case is, I want insight from the people who got rejected by my team. What was it like? And the other one here is perhaps a more traditional one, which is a hiring manager engagement one. As a busy ex-TA person, I'd often have invested countless hours tracking some great candidates. I'd have some resumes that needed to go to the teams. They'd be sitting with a line manager while I was also then off interviewing in another room. I can't be in 2 places in once, but both of them demand my attention. Another great use case for a bot. In this case, the bot's pushing to the manager to check everything's okay, they've got what they need, and can I get the feedback in? So it's volume, hundreds of transactions, chasing with managers all the time. I can't have time to initiate that with my team. The bot should recognize the feedback's not in and go looking for it. I want the manager to feel like it's a conversation, not a barking demand. And then it's a very specific use case that what I want is just to check the manager's got what they need and everything's on track. So volume processes, personal experiences, and specific use cases. Now, a little earlier, Peter Capelli, I don't know if he's still in the room, but Peter Capelli said, you're not going to see robots driving cars. And he was a little disappointed. I am one of those excitable product people that's a little bouncy and passionate about the things that are coming out of my engineering teams. But I've got to say, I also think it's changing. When my dad's a baby boomer, so he would have grown up in the 50s with the picture on the left. They're playing dominoes, by the way, in the back of that car. Why dominoes? So my dad would have grown up with bubbles, cars on the highway, driving down the road. And I know that we all will have contacts in California driving down the freeway in their Tesla who are freaking out like that guy who's just let go of the steering wheel for the first time. Happened to me. A friend of mine is in California right now. I've got to say, I think that's absolutely incredible. That is a Captain Kirk with a communicator moment, and now I have a mobile phone. So, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.